Hey there, welcome to this week's Member Spotlight. This is your opportunity to hear from a dynamic member of the HerBusiness Network. We're a community of like-minded women who are growing and scaling businesses. And whether you want to reach more people, you want to get new clients, you want some just fresh, hot ideas to grow your business, this is your opportunity to hear from someone who's growing and scaling a business, who's employing a team, who's doing marketing, who's looking at her branding, who's doing all the things that we do as business owners. And why I love these is that you get to go behind the scenes of a woman-owned business, but also our members who are in all sorts of industries bring to their interviews some tips. And these are going to be tips that you're going to be able to use, excuse me, in your own business. Hope you had a great weekend. It is August. As we know, we're like the second week into August. And here's what I know is that it's all going very, very quickly. I have had my head in preparing for an event. And this is our annual member event called HerBusiness Live. And it's on the 24th of August. But of course, preparations have been going for weeks and months in some cases. But we have a wonderful lineup of speakers that are keynote presenters, including some great internationals. We have workshops that are really practical on how to speak up in your business and ask for the sale and put yourself forward for opportunities. And we have, excuse me, we have a frog in our throat. So that's the HerBusiness Live event. I'll tell you more about it when we're done here today. But my head has been in events, so it's quite fitting, excuse me, that my guest for today has been in the events industry for 20 years. I'm going to stop talking because I can't, and I'm going to bring on Ruth Hirst of Synergy Effect. Hey, Ruth.
Hi, Susie. Hi, everyone. It's great to be here today.
I'm so sorry. I'm going to have a quick drink.
Yeah, you do that, Susie.
So tell us a little bit about what you do.
Thanks, Susie. Well, we empower leaders to design and deliver impactful hybrid and online events that connect their people with the brand strategy to ignite connection, commitment, and loyalty. And these are designs to reach a much larger audience than those that you could get together in person, but it brings huge ROI. And so we're pretty excited to do that for our clients.
I'm very excited that you do that for your clients because like you, we had to change some things a year ago where we would normally do our annual event as an in-person event. We had to very quickly, even though we didn't decide right away because we thought things will go back to normal, but we had to pivot to an online event. And that's what we're doing this year. So tell us who your ideal client is.
So our ideal clients are corporate brand managers, marketing directors, sales directors, HR managers, anyone who wants to bring together a group of people and who usually have a dispersed audience. So people who'll be looking at national conferences or awards dinners. So corporate organisations who are looking to bring an experience to their audience, and usually they're in people either internally or to their customers.
And what's exciting about this is that we do usually spend so much time in travel, accommodation, parking, all the expenses of an in-person event. Now, it's hard to duplicate an in-person event, or at least it used to be, but I know, and having just chatted with you a little bit before we started, there is so much more that we can actually do with virtual events that are just too hard to do in person. So there's definitely advantages. And so if you are an HR manager or a marketing manager, you're looking to bring something really unique and engaging to your ideal clients, then you definitely want to be paying attention because we're going to be giving you some insights into what you could be doing online and the type of work that Ruth does on a day-to-day basis with her clients. Now, just before we dive into your business a little more, you have had to pivot. Now, you've been in business for 20 years, but you have had to pivot, as a lot of women have done in the last 18 months. Take us a little behind the scenes of how that's been for you and what is now possible perhaps than it was before, even though it might have been a little bit of a ride like this to get to where you are today.
Absolutely. And the ride continues, Susie. So I'm pleased to say we like roller coasters, but this is really exciting. It's created a massive opportunity for us. We hadn't seen innovation like what we've been playing with since the last 20 years, since the invention of PowerPoint and, overhead projectors, moving on from those. And,
oh my goodness.
It's just crazy when you look at the innovation that's happened over the last year. We're really committed to creating experiences, and we're in the business of designing experiences for people that ignite brands and connect groups of people. So with that at the heart of it, we really want to say that it's all possible. there's so much tech out there and it appears very overwhelming, but we're here to provide a very handheld service that really does bring that to life. But we started with looking at the audience in mind and what's going to create something really meaningful with authentic experiences and speakers, and how we're packaging all that up so that we can deliver to a larger scale. Now, that's actually underpinned by 3 fundamental areas. So we're looking at certainty, scalability, and engagement. And I'll just dive into a little bit more about those.
Yeah, thank you.
Because with certainty, we all know how rugged it's been in the last year. And, I don't want to go on about that because there are some really exciting solutions out there. We want to bring the impact for corporate brands and their message. We want them to still have momentum to bring to their people, whether it's sales departments, customers, keeping people, energized and committed to what they're there to do day in, day out in their jobs. But we also have a lot of, risk management experience. And so we're really trying to set customers up from the beginning well. So we're scaling when the planning process is very early, from looking at in-person experiences, and that could be one large group in, say, Sydney or Melbourne, or looking at smaller groups around the country. And either looking at how we can bring those people together in a hybrid experience through to fully online if the borders close and you can't even get your speakers together on stage. So that's created a whole new set of learning challenges and curves in terms of how we plan. But if we plan well from the beginning, we can provide that certainty for clients. The other thing that we're really looking at is another fundamental is scalability. So enabling people to reach a lot more people at a much lower cost. And so we're even looking at, for example, how we can bring, when we're planning an in-person element together for, say, 300 people in person, we can still reach a much wider audience by looking at how we can stream out to 600 and 900 people, but also really get that brand engagement so that they really feel a part of it. And we're working with our speakers to position them so that they're interacting, and there's a lot of interaction for the online audience as well as people in the rooms. So what we're finding is the scalability and the reach is so much greater, like between 3 and 10%, or three times or 10 times the amount of just being in person. So we don't want to say you just do it online, because we love the in-person engagement too. But what we're saying is do your in-person if you can, and do your online, because your content is, a lot of it is still there. But let's reach that much wider audience. If you've got doctors in Dubbo or regional parts of Australia, you want them to experience the message and that first-hand training experience so they can go and advise their customers, just the same as if you would have your doctor in Sydney, for example. And then the third element is looking at engagement. And this is an area that I think is just growing leaps and bounds. When we're looking at engagement, there's things we're doing with how we're setting speakers up to craft their sessions in the beginning. We're making them much more snackable style, but also bringing in industry experts or even people from within their own organisations to give that two-way organisational voice, which actually gets people to buy in much more, and they feel heard and a part of a connected experience. The days are gone where you've just got your sales director standing on the stage and he's delivering his PowerPoint for an hour. We don't want to go back to that.
With 25 bullet points on every slide.
Yeah, absolutely. So, bullet points. We are really looking at how we're creating very dynamic content to support this whole thing as well.
I love all that. Just very quickly, I want to dive a little further, but how are you finding, because I know a great in-person experience, I know how to do a great online experience. It's the hybrid that I think is, are the people at home getting the same or better experience, or same or worse experience than the people in person? Have you managed to bridge that experience?
Yes. So we did a large hybrid conference back in March this year, and there was probably about 200 people across 5 sites. We had some streaming and also online if they couldn't attend on the day, but we were trying to get the people together because it was that real national conference, strategy for the year, getting everyone to buy into the experience. And it was really cool, actually. We also had the CEO and the COO over in Chicago. So we were doing live streams, but we also to and fro from America, but we also had Sydney set up as a main stage. But we had the other sites contributing. So we were able to tap into those audiences and get them to give us their feedback through the day, but also cross to them for their comments. So we still had that really beautiful experience of that camaraderie in the group that people love from national conferences.
Yeah, love it.
But we're also giving them polling opportunities and Q&A through an app that was plugged into, so everyone felt they had consistent experience. But also the way we planned the content was very different. We did a lot of pre-recording, and we recorded the speakers interviewing people from the team members in the manufacturing plant. So we had the factory with live video going on behind them, but the speakers were really coming to life. So it was really quite a dynamic and very different experience for everyone. Yeah.
Very good. Now, obviously, anyone in your industry, anyone in the events industry or that sort of in person, especially when you've done it a long time, really got hit hard with the lockdowns and the changes in our ability to be face to face with others. Something we're experiencing again right now in a number of states across Australia. So when it comes to growing your business, what is your biggest challenge or frustration right now? Is there something that I could support with?
Yeah, for us, it's about getting the message out there that we are a really committed team. We're here to solve the problems of those border lockdowns. We can still keep that momentum and excitement around brand launches or education when you can't get your people together. But just because it's so volatile, we just need to plan and let people know that there's possibilities that can be really impactful for them. So it's about sharing that message. There are solutions available. We want people to feel great. We want to get our message out there and get known to as many people as we can. So that's a real challenge, just, doing that and cutting through some of the noise that's out there, especially when it comes to technology platforms. We're not a platform, we're a service that
that's
has,
right.
has
that
all
you'll find the right
fingertips.
technology for whatever they're trying to do.
Absolutely.
So if I understand correctly, that challenge or frustration is in finding your people. And so my recommendation is to look at those ideal clients and maybe go narrow firstly. Go look at who have we just worked with, can I get a referral from them, because there's marketing managers and HR managers across so many industries, but the clearer we can be about our ideal client, especially when we're trying to target someone and you can put together a package that speaks to their particular needs. Also looking at your strategic alliances, who else has your customer, that's where I would definitely be diving in. The thing is that because there are so many technology platforms, like you said, you need to be able to talk about how this experience isn't just another broadcast or isn't it just another live stream, that you are bringing in all these elements. So I'm actually getting a very visual, I don't know how you represent your products, but I'm getting a very visual, almost infographic that talks about the added engagement, some of those stats you mentioned earlier, the types of results that people are getting that they weren't getting before, the types of experiences, testimonials, and something that's very that you need to stand out against that noise is going to be by demonstrating the thing that you say that you do. You don't currently have events in your name, because you made that change recently. So it's not going to be that people are just going to find you and go, oh, they're an events company, maybe they can help me. So you're going to need to work a little harder in other areas using, leveraging your past clients, your past testimonials, and your wonderful expertise to start to think about your marketing in a different way and really looking at, we cannot be amongst the noise. And therefore, how are we going to demonstrate the value we bring in a way that becomes very, very compelling for our ideal client? And again, we have resources that we can support you with inside of the community. Got a couple of comments here. Yes, and this person's saying, wow, amazing service for these constantly changing times. Thank you. And then someone else here saying, I really appreciate what you're doing. Ruth Hirst, what a cool way of combining live and online. Yeah, it's very, very cool. Now, as a business owner and someone who specializes in events and experiences, what are 3 pieces of advice that our viewers would benefit from? And these are things that you typically share only with your clients. Can you give us a few things?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, the fundamentals of event management still stand today. Event management, or nowadays we are technical producers or a digital agency. It doesn't really matter. We need to go back to the beginning and say, what is your reason for holding your event? What are you trying to do, whether it be a product launch, CPD, educational series, national conference, etc., and really clearly outline some key objectives that will help bring that to life and showcase the success of that. So I always go back to the basics and say, let's create some very clear outcomes that are going to be meaningful to your people, so that we know we've hit the mark at the end of it. And also, let's look at how we can engage. So, for example, I really want brands to put forward solutions and present themselves in person and online that reflects the quality of that brand. I mean, we all know how particular and high quality brand merchandise or experiences need to be. Well, in an online world, that is more true than ever, and that's why we take so much time and effort to really represent that. So we really dig into, asking those questions about what's going to create a sense of place for them, for engagement for their brand, but also their audience. And then the third thing is to look at how we can scale and reach that wider audience, because it's those shackles from the past about the costly expenses of, the conference venue and the flights and all that sort of stuff have gone, and yet there's real opportunity to reach more people, as I mentioned. So, I really believe that people shouldn't wait and lose momentum, but let us help them design something that's really creative, because we can have, that far greater reach, but we can also give them content at the end of it that's really relevant for ongoing education that they can have on their library, for customers, for further engagement, and just to really keep that message growing throughout the year. There's so many more options now when they have that lovely content. And I'm finding as people are getting their virtual sets created, they're suddenly finding more ways in which way they can use that. Some clients are looking at how they might deliver their business development videos to customers. And they're suddenly going, oh, this is very exciting. We've got, virtual sets that are reflective of our office foyer, or, something that really brings us to life online. So that's really exciting. So
we're very exciting.
Yeah, it's just trying to tap into something meaningful.
It is, and it's just breaking the mold of what we think education looks like, what we think annual conferences look like, what we think product briefings look like, what we think product launches look like. And so I think, and I appreciate, I had an events business for 13 years that I started from my spare room and sold many years ago now. And I know the cost of hotels and the logistics and the catering and all the bits that go in shipping boxes around here and workbooks and, display stands and all that. It's really, really complex. But here's the thing I know. A beautiful online event, like something that Ruth would create, still takes some planning. So if you've got your eyes set on your next conference and it's 3 months, 6 months, a year from now, you want to start doing that groundwork now, because that's going to allow you to, yes, we can turn things around very quickly because it's technology, but it still takes a lot of the core principles. How am I going to engage? What are the participant packs going to be? What are my virtual sets going to look like? Where is this talent going to come from? How do I get everyone on board with technology so we're not having your mic's off experience every 5 minutes?
Absolutely.
So you do want to start thinking of this ahead of time. This is great. We're going to give you a link. I'm going to pop that here right now, and then we'll get back to our interview here. So synergyeffect.com.au, and if you're watching the replay, we will have posted this below. If you go across and you look under services, there's a section called Evolve Online, which is going to be where you can start to connect with Ruth and her team about helping you with your next online event. Now, Ruth, you're a relatively new member of the HerBusiness Network. Tell us, what sort of problem does being part of our wonderful community help you with?
I'm not sure if there's just one, Susie, because I've only been involved for about a month, and I'm going, oh my gosh, my list is huge. I'm really loving the growth template, but also the sales and marketing, the product design templates and the advice that's coming out. I really love the sharing that's coming along with that, because it's really good to engage with how we can take learnings on and adapt them very quickly. So there's so many areas that I could expand in, and I just really appreciate all the resources that are on offer. But the growth is really helping me look at designing and looking at all the different areas of the business, because there's so many different facets in our business now that are different from a year ago. So we've had to pivot very quickly. And so to come back to a really comfortable network environment is actually giving me a stable platform to go, okay, yep, check, we've got that. Now let's move on. And how do we look at that next area? Okay, go to those resources and really tap into that. So really appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
You're very welcome. And there are so many women whose businesses have been impacted over the last 18 months, and they need to recover. They need to rebuild. They need to rethink how they deliver their products and services, or how they change their products and services, or how they change the way that they market their businesses. And so we've been very, very focused on the last 18 months and making sure that we bring front and center the resources that we have available, the capability. I mean, we did our very first online training in 2007. So for many, many years, we've been engaging our audiences online and making resources available digitally. And so we're very able to support women like Ruth, but also Ruth comes with so many years of experience, and she's able to support another woman who might be bringing on her next team member or trying to pivot her events. And so I love that cross-pollination that happens inside of our community. And those growth templates that Ruth talked about, every single month we focus on growing a different part of your business. And so we provide templates and downloads and suggestions of things that you can watch or listen to or do inside of that month, with some accountability, with some like-minded women who are also growing and scaling a business, in order to keep that momentum. Because it can be really easy, especially when we've hit a couple of walls, to want to retreat, to not feel okay about sharing where we're at. And so for us, being part of a community that champions you when times are good, but is also there for you when times are tough, is such an important part of why we exist. So thank you so much for being part of our community.
Pleasure. It's great.
Alrighty. So if people want to learn a little bit more, we're going to give them this URL one more time, and I'm going to pop it here in chat as well. But where is a good place for people to start if they're thinking about putting together their first online event?
Oh, it's really, it's really about looking at who is going to benefit. Where is your audience located? Do you need to do something that's online? And because some of the costs, you want to do a good job. You want to give them something that's really reflective of the quality of your brand. So you do want to invest in something a little more than, the entry level scenarios, because there's a lot of fatigue out there. So they need to consider, firstly, look at the audience. Is it going to carry a stronger and wider reach if you say, I want to target, for example, Australia and New Zealand with this, as opposed to, do I need to get 10 people together to launch it at the next restaurant dinner out? So when you're doing that, then look at who's going to benefit, and then what you can really do to engage with those people. Does doing something now warrant and give you the momentum, or if you put it off 6 months, is that going to make a difference? I personally think people shouldn't be postponing, because it really creates a massive circuit breaker in their business. So look at what you can do. Really look at how you can engage with people and get them to give you two-way feedback and interaction within your session. There's so many great ways to do that now. And there's also some really dynamic media to support you, and content creation. So there's about 4 main areas that we look to work into, and that is really to build up some quality and really dynamic graphics instead of using PowerPoint. So there's some basics, really key pictures, visuals. People are used to looking at Netflix and getting that high quality TV experience. You don't have to go to that level, obviously, but just consider, we need to respect our audiences, because time is valuable, and you're going to keep them engaged if you give them something good to watch.
I want to say something about postponing, because this happened to us last year. We had our annual event, HerBusiness Live. It was supposed to be in June. And then in March was happening. We thought, oh, this isn't going to happen. And so then we postponed it, but we were still planning on doing it live. And we moved it to, I think, August. And then as August was coming nearer, we were thinking, this is not going to happen. And then we ended up doing a virtual event in October, which was fantastic. Then it came to this year. And when I announced it was going to be a virtual event, which we announced, I think, about 3 months ago, I know that some people were feeling disappointed, but I am so glad that we called it early. It gave us certainty. It gave our clients certainty. And so if you are planning a conference and you're thinking, well, surely things will be open by then. And I've seen this because we do so many virtual events, that it's better to know and to be able to plan and to be able to get all your ducks in a row than to be hoping and then to be flapping around trying to organize things at the last minute. And it's good for others to have that certainty too. They know that I'm going to block out this time. I'm going to be here. I can work around my children, my other commitments. But most of all, it gives you peace of mind. This is what I got, Ruth. Even we have an annual Mastermind program, which has 4 two-day events a year. And again, 2.5 months ago, we said, we're going to do August. And some people were like, no, we want to get together. We haven't been together for almost 18 months. But now it's 2 weeks from now. I think we're still going to be in lockdown. So in Sydney anyway. So, really think ahead and use services like this that are specifically designed to help you engage with your audience, give them an incredible experience. And I can speak firsthand, the things that we've been able to do with speakers, with engagement, with breakouts, with all sorts of things that we can do so much easier online than we could in person. Now, yes,
absolutely.
would we, and I'm sure you, Ruth, will love one day where we can do those in-person events again and feel comfortable that everybody's safe, but we're not going back. And here's what I want you to know. If you are thinking, I'm just going to keep postponing, then like Ruth said, you might just be losing momentum. So you definitely want to check out synergyeffect.com.au. Anything you want to leave us with?
The world is your oyster. There's so much opportunity, and it doesn't need to be a scary process. There's people here to help you every step of the way. And I think that's the big thing. Don't get caught up in the inertia with it. Look to good people to help you, and you'll find some really engaging options to help you deliver your message. Thanks.
Great. Thank you so much for joining me here today. We're going to pop that link here. I will see you inside the members group. Right. Thank you, Ruth.
Thank you. See you.
Thank you. That is Ruth Hirst from Synergy Effect. You want to go ahead and check her out. She's doing some great things with online events, and we are proud, as always, to introduce you to one of our members. The HerBusiness Network is full of incredible women who are growing and scaling businesses, and I've got a message here. Thank you, Susie Daphnis and Ruth Hirst. Love this today. This has been so helpful. This is Joanna, and Joanna is actually in the United States. Thank you so much for joining us, Joanna. So finally, I wanted to just remind you, we are working on our annual event. It's called Her Business Live. And while it is a member event, we are inviting non-members to go ahead and join in if you would like. We have wonderful opportunities for you to make connections. We have a fully produced, professionally produced show, unlike anything that I'm sure you've attended before. More like the sorts of things that Ruth does with her clients. It's an engaging experience. It's a day working on your business, not just in your business. And so go ahead and check it out. We've got most of the speakers up on the site now at herbusinesslive.com, and there are great savings if you want to join us, if you sign up in the next few days. If you're a member of the Her Business Network, remember to use your members link. To get your special discount. I want to thank you so much for joining me here today. I'll be back with another member spotlight very, very soon. In the meantime, go ahead and check out Her Business Live. It's going to be awesome. I'm so excited. Like I said, I just came off a production meeting just before this interview, and it's going to be awesome. I'm going to say awesome again. Have a great week. Bye for now.